Hey guys, Walt's here with an overview of the assignment Lamb to the Slaughter and Prey comparison constructed response question. So the goal with this assignment is to see if you can take two short stories and show how they are alike and different. Now, I've left these questions kind of open-ended. I do want to steer you in a specific direction, but I also want to see you kind of think about this and give me your own take on this. There's not necessarily incorrect answers, but when you think about writing questions like this, think about making a claim. You want to state very clearly what your idea is and then support it. So I will be evaluating these responses based upon, did you state a specific claim about each story regarding the prompt, and did you support it? So use the handouts. I think I've attached the PDF files to the assignment for those of you at home. For those of you who have been in class, you should have paper copies. If you can't find those, use the PDF copies. Find me the evidence that proves your point in these responses. So let's go over the questions real quick, just so you have an idea of what it is I'm looking for specifically. All right, setting. So this question is going to be regarding setting. So think back to the setting map that we made about 1950s America. Each of these stories are set in that time frame. One of them in the 1950s, one of them in the 1960s, but same vibes. Put yourself in the shoes of a person reading these stories when they were published. Which story would be more shocking to you? Explain. So think of all the reasons that what happens in these stories might be shocking. I think today we're kind of jaded when it comes to horror movies specifically. So when you read a short story like Prey, and you've got this 7-inch tall doll attacking Amelia with his spear, and then the little like carving knife or little kitchen knife, it doesn't really sound like all that surprising. I mean, we've seen movies where dolls come to life and attack people. A lot of them. Dolls, that's kind of a thing. But go back, think back when this story was published in the 1960s. How would this story affect you as a person? What would shock you the most? Or would Lamb to the Slaughter be the most shocking to you? So put yourself in the position based upon the customs, beliefs, and values of the people at the time, and let me know. All right, plot. So this question is going to concern the specific events, sequence of events in a story. Both stories begin with a conversation between the protagonist and another central character. How do you think the story's expositions are similar and or different? So, if you think back to the exposition of each story, what kind of conversations are going on? What's the tone? What's the mood? What's the vibe of the exposition in each story? What do the characters have in common in the exposition? Um, how does the exposition turn into the conflict? Speaking of conflict, each protagonist faces an external conflict, meaning they are reacting against an outside force. What are two key similarities or differences between Amelia and Mary's conflicts? I want to see if you can put this together. What were they working against? What was keeping them from getting where they wanted to go, so to speak? So just kind of lay out the differences between those two parts of the story, or the conflicts rather. Tone and plot. So here's where I want you to flex your tone muscles here. And there's a video where I go over the mood and tone handout. Looks like this. So we've been talking about mood and tone. We did a little exercise in class with the songs, talking about the differences between mood and tone. Let's see here. There we go. Consider the major events of each story. Do you think the stories have different tones or feels to them? Explain. For this question, use two words from your tone/mood handout to describe each story. This is something I gave out in class. I'll attach it to, let's do this real quick. Let's attach it here as well. Edit. This will be first block, Google Drive. Sorry, guys. Forgot to do this. Where is it? I can't find it. Okay, I'll have to do that later. Anyways, here we go. So the mood and tone handout that we used when we did the cover song exercise, I want you to find words from there. So we talked a little bit about this in class. Think about the actions or the events of the story. The stories are both violent, but are they the same kind of violent? Do they have the same tone or feel to them? In the resolution of each story, you've got the protagonist who has, in a sense, gotten what they want, if that makes sense. So Mary giggles at the end, and then he who kills is dancing at the end. They're both happy, but is it like, what's the tone? What's the vibe you get from each story? That's what I want to know. All right, so when you get done with this one, submit it. And then I've got a writing assignment for us this week as well. Before we get into our poetry discussion, I'll post a video about that. where you guys write about a time where maybe you've had to escape a specific situation. And I want to know what you did, how you changed, what actions you took to get out of that. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll talk to you again soon.